Alright, so welcome back to the channel where gaming never gets old and the adventure never ends. Today, we are going to look at the things you should do when you start EA Sports FC25, especially if you are a beginner to this franchise. Whether you are getting the game today or in the future, this video should help you because I'll be taking you through the in-game settings and some general things you need to do before you start playing the game. So stay tuned and make sure you hit the subscribe button for more videos like this and for more EA Sports FC25 tips and tricks. Okay, so after you launch the game, this is what comes up. This is the startup screen for EA Sports FC25, and at the bottom left corner you get the option to either continue with the language already chosen, or you have the option to change the language, which depends on the platform that you are on. If you're on console or PC, of course the buttons are going to be different, but obviously they would want you to pick a language which you understand and all that in order to continue the game. So of course it's quite right that they introduced this at the startup screen where you have the option to change the language before you actually get into the game itself, right? So depending on the platform that you are on, you can press the box option to change the language that you want. Of course, if you don't understand the language, you won't be able to play the game and understand it, right? So change the language here. In case you want French, you can just choose the French like this, and it's going to change the language as you can see. But of course, English is okay. And depending on which platform you are on, you may want to download this language pack. Okay, I am on PC, so the language has already been downloaded and in the game. So I just choose it and then I just keep going, right? But depending on which platform you are on, whether PS5, Xbox, you would have to download the language, right? So once you choose the language, you can just go ahead and press the X or any other key to get into the game itself, right? Okay, so now as the game loads up to the in-game menu, all what you need to do first, the first thing you need to do is to download your squad. Okay, this is one of the first things you need to do when you start because it's essential to your kickoff and career mode experience. Downloading the latest squad ensures that the latest transfers, player faces, and player stats have been applied in the game, and you can use those updates in career mode and other modes in the game. Alright, so all what you need to do in order to download the squad update is to flip the L button like this, and you can see at the top left corner the settings has been highlighted. Just hit on it and it will take you through the game settings like what we have here, just like in FIFA or FC24. And you will want to go to edit teams, and from here you want to go to download update, as you can see here. So you click on download update. It's going to ask you if you are sure to download the latest updates. Yes, just choose yes, give it some time, and it's going to download the latest updates. All right, so wait for a while and the latest updates have been downloaded. Now you may want to come back every week because EA usually drops a new squad update each week that updates player stats. So you may want to come here continually almost every week. Just try and come here and see if there are any other updates. So just click on it again. If there are no updates, it's going to tell you that there are no new updates available at this time. So please try again later. That means you have downloaded the latest squad updates and all that, right? So come back here every week or weekend and make sure you check if there are no new updates available. Okay, now in any case you want things to go to the normal default mode, you can always use the reset all squad feature to reset the players, the transfers, and everything else back to its default mode. That is if you want to reset everything back. For some reason you want to reset everything back to its default mode, you can use the reset all squad tile to do that. All right, now the next thing we're going to talk about is privacy. So as usual, flip the L stick, go to settings, and you may want to go to online settings, and from here you may want to go to privacy settings, and from privacy settings by default these two might still be on. These two may be on by default, so you may want to take these two out and then just go back, and when you do that you will not share any data with AI. All right, so the next thing we want to look at is the accessibility settings, and as usual we flip the L stick to the left, and at the top left corner just come down like this and you will see the accessibility settings right there where the arrow is being pointed at, and once you select it, it's going to take you straight to the accessibility settings. And this has features such as color blindness, intensity, the brightness, the contrast, player indicator size. Normally it's at default. If you may want to change it to large to see how each of them look like. We have small and all that. We have remap, Rastic functionality, we have remote bumpers, we have larger clickable targets, and all these have what they do. So you may want to experiment and choose the one that you think might work best for you, and yeah, just play around things and all that. And that has to do with the accessibility settings in the game, right? Then the next thing we want to look at is the display configuration. Now, depending on which platform you are on, if you are on PC, you will see display configuration, right? But if you're on console, you're going to see something like graphics mode, right? Graphics mode. Now, there is a different setting for console and there's a different setting for PC. All right, so on PC, you will see display configuration where you get the option to change the resolution, but by default, the game would choose its default settings based on your system specifications, right? So depending on the spec that you have on your system, the game is going to choose its default settings. So you may want to come down here and make some few tricks and all that. So the resolution, I am playing 1920 by 1080, which is also 16 by 9, and you may want to change it to fit whichever resolution that you want. But per my specifications, I'll just leave it to 1080, 1920 by 1080. But if you're experiencing lag issues, make sure you bring it down all the way to 1600 by 900. Okay, if you are experiencing lag issues, but if you're not, then just leave it all the way to the 1920 by 1080. And we have display mode, which is also full screen, or you may want to play as windowed or borderless windowed, whatever, however where you want it. But mine is always at full screen. The refresh rate is grayed out, you can't change it, but it depends on which system you're on and which monitor or screen you're using to play. We have the frame rate, it's at 60 fps, mine is at 60 fps. You can switch all the way to 90 and 120 fps, and we have no limit on fps. That is if you don't want to limit your fps. If you want to go as high as 120 plus, then you can set it to no limit on fps, but mine has been set to 60 fps. That's what I want. We have virtual synchronization on or off, dynamic resolution scale. Now this one, mine is mostly off because it says output resolution will change on the fly to improve performance. I don't want this to happen where it's going to change my resolution up here to a lower resolution just to improve performance. I don't want that to happen. So my dynamic resolution is mostly off, and that's how I want it. We have cutscene quality. Cutscene is like the video that plays before the game actually starts. That is stuff like that. That is the cutscene quality. And you want to either set it to half frame rate or full frame rate. Mine is always at full frame rate because of my system specs, and I have that on. And we have stranded or strand based hair. Once you either set it on and off, what it does is realistic hair shader. Whether you want the hair to be real and stuff like that, you have to set it either on or off. Mine is always on. We have rendering quality, right? We have rendering quality. Yeah, you can set all these settings to high and all that, either ultra high, or you can set it to medium and stuff like that. Depends on which system you are on. Okay, so my system is quite high, so I can set all these things to high. However, if you are experiencing lag issues, then make sure you turn this all the way to medium or low. Either medium or low, especially with the grass quality, medium or low. The crowd quality, we want to set it to low, and the cloud quality maybe to high, something like that. That is if you are experiencing lag issues, right? But mine is always high, and that is because my system is high. My specs are a bit high. We have motion blur quality either on or off or auto. Auto is going to, the system itself is going to automatically adjust the motion blur quality to set it either on or off. Depends on how your system works, right? So mine is always set to on. Of course, I want the motion blur to work and all that. So that is it for the display settings or display configuration. All right, so there's another thing to do if you are experiencing lag issues on PC. If you're experiencing lag issues, you may want to go all the way to gameplay in order to reduce the lags. Okay, so go to gameplay and head all the way down till you see either reaction time modifier or reaction time calibration. Yeah, that's one. So this is the reaction time calibration. You can either set it off if you are experiencing lag issues. Okay, just turn it off. I don't think it's even a useful feature like that. Just turn it off if you're experiencing lag issues, and you wouldn't experience all the lag issues like that. Okay. All right, so another thing we need to talk about is the newly added gameplay type settings in this year's FC25, right? So you hover all the way to the simulation settings and you have the gameplay type. By default, it is set to custom, right? Now you have the option to either set it to classic or simulation, right? Now this is an overall master switch through which the user can manage their gameplay settings to create the desired experience, right? So classic is the high intensity FC experience, right? What this means is that this is your usual high intensity, crazy, chaotic FC experience you already know from the previous FC games or the FIFA games that you already know, right? So this is the high intensity gameplay which you already know. That is the classic, and you can also set it to simulation. Now the simulation is a smaller simulation style experience that is closer to what you will see in a live football match, right? So either set it to classic or simulation. I've played the simulation. I think it is quite okay. It is way slower, like the way you actually see the real football match, live match on screen, right? That is for simulation, and this is for classic. I've played both, but for me, I think the simulation is way better for me. For people that play online, you are most likely playing with a classic experience. That's because you can't change the gameplay type settings online. It is fixed to classic, right? You don't have to use the simulation experience if you don't like it, but definitely try it out and see how it goes if you play kickoff or career mode, since you can't play simulation mode online. So yeah, adjust the two, see what best works for you, and then just go with it. But for me, I like the simulation mode. Just try it out and see. All right. Now, the next thing that we're going to look at is the CPU sliders or the AI behavior, right? So with the AI behavior, by default, it is set to custom, right? And you can either set it to dynamic or tactical. So CPU sliders affect the way the opposing AI thinks on a moment-to-moment basis. Baseline CPU decision making varies from team to team based on the particular team's style of play. And tactical, what it does is that the CPU decision making will fluctuate slightly from baseline behavior every match, allowing for more variety when playing the same opponent multiple times, right? So if you play career mode and you play the same teams like a couple of times a season, you might want to have it on tactical because they won't behave the same way every match. Okay, if you leave it on dynamic, however, dynamic says the same as tactical, but slider values will fluctuate even more from their baseline values. This allows for even greater variety when playing the same team multiple times, but there will be less differentiation between different teams as a result. So as I said earlier, if you play career mode and you want to play the same teams like a couple of times a season, you might want to leave it on tactical. So yeah, tactical is the best way to go. And however, if you are someone that wants to customize your sliders and don't want what AI gives you, then you have to turn off the gameplay type to custom in the simulation settings part of the game. However, if you are someone that wants to customize the sliders and don't want what AI gives you, then all what you need to do is to put this one on custom and go all the way to the simulation settings and the gameplay type and put this one to custom as well and start tweaking what this one what all these things are. All right, especially under simulation settings, we have wind effect and weather effect. By default it is off, so you can turn it on, and it says enable this option for wind to impact ball trajectory, and low wind stays low, having only a minor effect on the ball during gameplay. So if it is set to low, that is what it does. If it is set to medium, wind speed ranges from calm to medium, and if it is set to high, wind speed ranges from calm to high. High winds have a significant impact on the ball movement when it travels long distance in the air. So yeah, these are various effects you can check if it is set to custom, right? So yeah, you can set the wind effect and weather effects. Now weather effect is off. If you turn it on, this enables or this gives you the option for the current weather conditions to impact the ball and player. So this one, what it does is sometimes when a player is passing the ball, he either falls down, stuff like that. That is for weather effects and wind effect. So just keep tweaking all these things to see what actually works best for you. You just tweak this one, both the simulation settings and the CPU sliders, tweak it up and down to see what works best for you. Overall, the game is yours, and do what makes you happy, and just keep experimenting, spend enough time to see all what these features does, and just keep tweaking them to see what works best for you. But you have to remember, put it to custom and you are good to go. But for me so far, the simulation type is really cool. So I'll just leave it to simulation, and that will be it for now. Okay. All right. So the next feature that we are going to talk about is the gameplay settings. All right. So let's go all the way to the controls, and with the presets, you get either custom or competitive mode. Right. Now the competitive mode, you see that they've grayed out most of the options, and you wouldn't have control over most of the options. Right. So what I'll do is, with it says the competitive mode preset is always enabled in online competitive matches. The following settings are affected by the competitive presets: the auto shot, assisted headers, auto flare pass, true pass assistance, lob true pass assistance, auto clearance, jockey defending, contextual agile dribbling. These are what is affected with competitive mode. And of course, you may want to set it to custom. Mine is always at custom so that I have enough chance to enable all these settings if I want to do so. Right. So when you set it to custom, you have auto shots is on, assisted headers is on, shot assistance, time finishing. My time finishing is mostly off because I don't want that animation thing coming up on my finishing and all that. So mine is mostly off here. We have passing, auto flare pass is on, and true pass assistance. Mostly these are assisted. I know some players would want to keep theirs to either semi or manual. Some players want to do everything themselves, so they set things to manual, like everything set to manual. But as I said, it is your game. Do what makes you happy, and see what actually works best for you. So spend enough time, go through all what these things are. Lock pass assistance, mine is assisted. Pass receiver lock, mine is late, and yeah, I think that is what I would like to put it at. But as I said, everyone and what works best for him. There's no definite way, or there's no perfect way to go about it. So see what works best for you. Spend enough time. See what works best for you. Mine is athlete, so I just leave it as it is. We have precision pass sensitivity. Mine is normal. You can set yours to high if you want. We have the defending, auto clearance, directional, jockey. Some people would want their jockey to, they would have to do the jockey themselves and all that. Now this year we have advanced defending, and we have the advanced defending. We have legacy. We have tactical. At first I used to play tactical, but now I'm playing advanced defending, and I think the advanced defending gives you the freedom to choose your tackle type. As you press O to attempt a stand tackle, press X to attempt a shoulder challenge or a seal out and all that. And I wouldn't advise legacy defending because it's very old, and you need to learn the new types of defending, which is either advanced or tactical. Right. We have pass block assistance is on. We have the switching and all that. So make sure you spend enough time, go through all what these things are, and see what actually works best for you. Right. All right. So depending on which platform you are on, you may or may not see the controller preferences here, which you have analog sprints either turned on or off, depending on which platform you are on. Some platforms might not have this control there, but analog sprint allows you to control how fast you sprint. The further you hold the R2, the faster the player will run. So mostly my analog sprint is on. Of course, depending on the team that I use, I like my analog sprint to be on. Now from there, the next thing to do or to talk about is the match settings. All right. Now the half length, mostly by default it is 6 minutes. If you want to spend enough time playing, or if you want to spend more time playing the game, then you can actually increase the time minutes all the way to 20 minutes per half length. Right. So choose how many minutes you want to spend each half length on, but 20 minutes is enough. It's way too much. That means you're going to spend 40 minutes on one match. So mostly we spend it to 4 minutes, and that is how the game goes. We have difficulty level either amateur. Based on your skill, set the difficulty level to your opponent. Right. So mostly we set it to legendary, and that's the only way you get the competitor mode on. Okay, so set it to legendary and either put the competitor mode on or off. What this one does is enabling this setting to face a more challenging opponent that simulate the play style of some of the world's best FC players. The settings can only be enabled on legendary or ultimate difficulty. As I said, either put it on legendary or ultimate before you get a competitor mode on or off. So mine is set to on. We have player based difficulty. So as we say, just spend enough time, go through what these things are, and see what actually works best for you. We have attributes, we have ball type. You can either change the ball, but most mine is set to default. We have attributes and quick subtitles. If you want the subtitles to show, you can either set it on or off. And we have watch full match intro. Now this option gives you I think 3 options. We have never. Now this never would actually not bring the full match intro at all. It won't bring it at all. And it says the full match intro will never play after the opening pre-match cinematic. So never means it's never going to play. And you can set it to opt-in. Opt-in means it gives you the option to either skip the full match intro or you would want it to play, right? And we have always. Always means it is always going to play. You won't even have the opportunity to either opt in to skip or play the full match intro or watch it, right? That is what it does. Now, but as I keep on saying, spend enough time on each of the settings, see what actually works best for you. As I keep on saying, the game is yours, and there's no definite way to go about it. There's no professional way to go about it, and there's no perfect way to go about it. So tweak the settings, see what actually works best for you. Mine is always set to opt in here, and that is it for the match settings. Okay, so now with that being said, the next thing to look at is the camera settings. All right, now by default the single player camera is set to tactical by default. Now this is the camera used for all offline and online single player 11v11 matches. This does not include lock to player matches. All right, now by default it is set to tactical, and I would like to put mine at co-op because I get the option to get the view of the entire page. All right, it gives me a view of the entire page. So mostly I set mine to co-op depending on which game mode you are playing, but mine is actually co-op. As I said, as I keep on saying, there is no perfect way to go about it. Okay, so tweak all these settings, see what each of them does and how best you like it, but mine is always set to co-op because it gives me a better view of the entire page, right? And if you're playing clubs, either set to tactical, but as I keep on saying, see what works best for you. Mine is all usually set to co-op, as I said, the rush camera and all that. So just go through it, see what actually works best for you, and you have the option to either set a power shot to zoom on or off, right? When playing the power shots or when doing the power shots, a camera zooms in on the player doing the power shots, and here you have the option to either set the option to off or on, right? So choose whether or not you want the dynamic camera treatment on for power shots during gameplay. So if you don't want the camera to zoom in to the player doing the power shots, the internet's off. Mine is on, but of course, as I said, there's no perfect way to go about it. So choose the one that you want. Mine is always on, but I'm sure you would want yours to be off so that you get to know that you're actually doing the power shots, right? Okay, so the next thing we are going to look at after visual is the audio settings. And here we have the general audio, where we have the menu SFX volume or the menu sound effects volume, right? Now the sound effects volume is set to 10. You can either increase or reduce it depending on what you're trying to do. And below here we have menu music volume. What this one does is that there's a music playing in the background, and you either want to increase the sound of the volume of the music or not. But for me, because I'm streaming or I am making this video for YouTube purposes, I would want to disable all music playing because I don't want any copyright issues on my video. So mine is set to on. And if you are going to stream the game for YouTube or streaming purposes, you may want to turn this option on because you don't want any copyright issues. It says streaming or recording FC. This setting disables all music to avoid copyright infringements, right? Like right now, if I turn it off, you see music playing, right? So I just turn it off to avoid any copyright issues, and that is it for the general audio. As you go down, we have beyond broadcast, and beyond broadcast, what this one is that it says enabling this setting will raise the intensity and overall atmosphere of the crowd during gameplay to levels beyond typical broadcast. So what this one does is that the crowd are going to chant and sing more songs in the game. You may want to turn this option off on. You may want to turn it on because you would want to experience the crowd chanting, and that gives that kind of boost up the morale of the players. And you may want to turn it on because you want to hear the crowd chanting and playing all that music and stuff. Yeah, so turn this option on if you want that to happen. You want the crowd to engage more. And from there we have mix mode, and we have the commentary language. Because we've already said the language, we can't change it here. We have the commentary team. You can either change the commentary team or you can randomize it. From here we have either Derek Ray and Stewart. You can change the commentary team or you can just randomize it. We have the sideline commentator. What this one does is that enable or disable whether you like to hear audio updates on injuries. So sometimes when we're playing the game, some players get injured and you get a commentary telling you or giving you updates on what is happening with the injuries and all that. That is the sideline commentator. And we have the commentary volume. You may want to either increase or reduce it depending on what you want to do. But as I keep on saying, there is no perfect way to go about it. Tweak it up to see what actually works best for you. Disable or critical commentary during gameplay, right? So that is a disable critical commentary, and they all have what they do. We have rush audio, we have commentary volume, and gameplay music volume and all that. So as I keep on saying, there's no perfect way to go about it. Just go through it, tweak all the settings, see what works best for you, and you are good to go. So with that being said, let's head over to the rules, and we have the injuries. You might want to either set the injuries on or off. With the settings turned on, you open your players up to the possibility of being injured during the game. So if you don't want any injuries in the game, you can set this off, but of course that wouldn't be realistic. And we have the offsides. You may want to turn offsides on or off, but of course turning it off doesn't make the game real. We have the booking. With this setting off, players will never be given a yellow card or red card after committing a foul. And yeah, for handballs, this one is what actually makes the thing a bit confusing, because my handballs are set to off, because I don't want a situation where I'll be getting handballs leading to penalties in the game, especially in the 18 box. And you can either set it to on except for penalties. Okay, so your handballs can be set to on, but you wouldn't receive penalties on handballs, but you can receive handball fouls anywhere other in the game, but not in the 18 box, right? Or you can set it to on as it is anywhere penalty is included, right? Or you can set it to on only for goalkeepers, right? And you can set it to off at the same time. So as I keep on saying, keep tweaking it to see what actually works best for you. But mine will be on except for penalties, because this makes it a little bit close to reality, right? So I set mine to on except for penalties. And we have referee strictness. By default, it is set to default, right? So the referee is not order biased and all that. You can change it to strict. Strict means the referee is more strict, and any foul, the referee is going to, either give a card or give a punishment for it. And you can set it to very strict, and you know how it goes: strict and very strict. Very strict is extremely high. It can turn into very lenient and all that, and lenient too. And this actually works with the referee strictness, right? So as I keep on saying, there's no perfect way to go about it. To keep on tweaking until you get what actually works best for you. Okay, so with that being said, we are going to end the video here and continue another time. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be dropping more formation styles and the best formations to go in for. So if you enjoyed the video, kindly hit on the like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this and tips on FC25. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.